Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of SportsLine. I'm Brendan Rigney and alongside of me is Madison Elliott.
We have a great show full of your LaSalle sports news, previews, and highlights.
So let's get started with some game recaps. Madison?
The women's track and field team took the Boston University Track and Field Center by storm this past weekend at the ECAC Championships. The distance medley team placed first with a time of 11 minutes and 34 seconds. They missed the school record, which they set themselves by half a second, but finished 9 seconds ahead of the second place finishers. Not only did the women succeed in the DMR, but individually as well. Kaylee Solano ran her best time ever at LaSalle in the 800-meter run with a time of 2 minutes and 11 seconds, coming third in her heat. Taylor Hackett ran the 1 mile and clocked 5 minutes and 4 seconds, finishing 7th overall with such a small number of competitors. The Explorers placed 31st out of 46. The full team competes next weekend in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the NCAA Championships.
The men's team had a successful weekend in Boston as well. Freshman Chris Sanders placed 5th in the 800-meter run finals with a time of 1 minute and 51 seconds, a career best. Out of the whole team, he had the best individual finish, just half of a second behind the school record, and qualified for finals. Alfredo Santana competed in the 5,000-meter run and clocked his season best with a time of 14 minutes and 20 seconds for 6th place. He also registered the top time in the 3,000-meter run, clocking 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Right on his heels, Vince Perozzi clocked 8 minutes and 14 seconds, and Zach Sullivan followed with a time of 8 minutes and 18 seconds. In the 1,000-meter run, Kevin Day clocked a time of 2 minutes and 29 seconds. The distance medley relay team notched 15th place with a time of 10 minutes and 16 seconds. The Explorers return next week in the NCAA Indoor Championships in Albuquerque.
During spring break, men's basketball evened out a 500 record after taking on Fordham, George Mason, and St. Joe's. Highlights from over the break included senior Tyreek Duran's buzzer-beating layup against Fordham in the Bronx, Sam Mills' entrance into the 1,000-point club at LaSalle, and the dominating win over crosstown rivals St. Joe's to close out the season. With 2 wins and a loss to George Mason, we saw Duran in his final regular season with a whopping 27 points against St. Joe's, as well as huge contributions in the other 2 games. Sam Mills also felt the push from senior season as he threw up 18 points against Fordham and 5 steals against St. Joe's. Junior Tyrone Garland cut up the court while Jarrell Wright provided a powerful inside game. The Explorers fine-tuned their shooting, keeping even at 40%. This impressive finish gives them plenty of steam to power through the A-10 championship in Brooklyn.
Coming off of 3 wins out of the last 4 games and a solid pummeling of St. Bonaventure earlier this season, the Explorers look primed to make some waves at the Barclays Center as they take on the Bonnies March 13th at noon. LaSalle enters the contest as the 8th seed, whereas the Bonnies sit at 9th. It was the demoralizing defense that was key in the 75-67 beatdown, and the blue and gold look to keep the pressure on. LaSalle heads into this tournament confident and ready to reclaim the A-10 championship title.
The women's team capped its season these past 2 weeks. They began March with a win on senior night against St. Bonaventure by a score of 55-49 before heading to the A-10 championship. In the first round, the Explorers demolished St. Louis in a dominant 65-56 victory. However, Micaiah Owens' 23 points were absent the following game when LaSalle took on the Bonnies again, this time in the quarterfinals. On offense, the ball stopped rolling as St. Bonaventure took the win, 54-42. This ends the team's bid for an A-10 championship and evened its record at 15-15.
Coming off of the hiatus of the fall season, the golf team headed down south to North Carolina for the Davidson Invitational. However, the frigid conditions followed the Explorers as sleet, snow, and rain were present to start off the season. In the middle of a freezing wet snow squall on the first day, LaSalle notched a +51 as a team. The next day, they improved 11 shots from the day before to round out the tournament with a +91 to bring the Explorers in 13th place. Within this performance, senior Mike Johnson clinched the 31st spot in the tournament, fighting through the conditions to shoot a +14. Junior Greg Goodrids held 2nd place on the team with a +25, and senior Tyler Fuel snagged 3rd with a +28. Not too shabby for a squad fighting with the elements. The team hopes to exercise some golf demons in time for the LaSalle Invitational at Huntington Valley Country Club on March 23rd and 4th. Keep an eye out for the team this spring.
Over spring break, the baseball team was busy on the road with games against Western Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina. In their first 3 games against Western Carolina, the Explorers slow at the plate with a scoreless 7 innings. The 8th inning brought 4 runs for the Explorers. but the late comeback was not enough and they lost 6-4. In the game 2 of the series, the Blue and Gold had 3 early runs in the first to snag the early lead, but the Catamounts had a comeback against pitchers Derek Pruschel and Mike McLeod to take the win 7-6. Game 3 in the series was a struggle from the start for the Explorers, and the Catamounts completed the sweep with a 21-13 win over LaSalle.
Up next, they played undefeated Tennessee, and the Volunteers had 4 runs early on, and the Explorers lost the first game of the series 14-0. With just 2 hours between games, the Explorers were back on the field to take on the Volunteers again. The beginning of Game 2 was slow until the top of the 6th, with a triple by Mark Williams propelling Cameron Johnson to score. Directly following this was a single to center field to advance Williams home. This was not enough for the W, however, and the Volunteers took the series with a victory 10-2.
In a 1 of 3 game series against South Carolina, the Explorers could not hold on after a good start, as the Spartans scored 6 runs in the 6th to take Game 1, 11-9. Game 2 began with 8 Explorer runs in the first 2 innings. 6 more runs in the 6th ended the losing streak with a 12-5 win in South Carolina. Despite an equal pitching performance between Mark Williams and Dylan Parker, the gentlemen in green had the 5-6 advantage to take the series win. The Explorers' scheduled game at home this past Wednesday has been postponed due to weather.
The softball team participated in the Rebel Spring Games in Winter Haven, Florida. The team faced a quartet of opponents 2 times each over the span of 5 days. The women were only able to pick up 2 victories over that stretch in their last 2 games against Niagara University and UMass Lowell by scores of 5-2 and 10-4 respectively. Meg Hodgson continued to shine with the Explorers with 11 RBIs and 4 home runs during the break, while freshman shortstop Michelle Haggerty contributed some power of her own, slugging 2 homers and a triple in their final 2 contests. Mary-Kate Scott, Alicia Alton, and Val Bueller all delivered strong performances on the mound over the 7-game stint as well.
The lacrosse team had 2 games over spring break, first against University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Coming to McCarthy Stadium, they handed the Explorers their first loss of the season. UMBC broke the 6-6 tie with 4 minutes left in the second half to win it, 7-6. Rookie Tony Massetti notched 2 goals in the loss. Other goals scored Exploring were Caitlin Broadstrand, Caitlin Fay, Katie Worley, and Kelly Furman. Rookie goalie Gabby Antonelli also made 7 saves in the loss. LaSalle hit the road later in the week to take on the University of Delaware Blue Hens. Amidst the game, a sibling rivalry brewed between LaSalle's Caitlin Fay and Delaware's Chelsea Fay. Caitlin led the Explorers with 3 goals, followed by Erin McCabe with 2. However, the Blue Hens held the advantage in shots on net, ground balls, drawn controls, and goal scoring. The Explorers were handed their second loss in an 18-7 final.
I joined the team at McCarthy as they played Drexel. Jake Smolinski has it covered. Take a look.
As the storm clouds gathered over McCarthy Stadium on Wednesday, March 12th, the weather reflected the mood of the women's lacrosse team as they took on Drexel. After a stunning start to the season with 3 wins in a row, the Explorers became complacent, and they came to this game with 2 consecutive heartbreaking losses. The stage was set for yet another upset as the Dragons opened up the game with 2 quick goals 2 minutes apart, but as the downpour and wicked gusts kicked in, the Explorers countered with 4 consecutive goals from Caitlin Brostrand, Tony Mazzetti, and Caitlin Fay to bring the Explorers up +2. Then, Drexel fought through the blistering winds and rain to run 7 consecutive goals on the blue and gold defense. As the second half winded down, the Explorers started rallying, but it wasn't enough as the Dragons roasted the Explorers 10-8. Even though it was a heartbreaking loss, all wasn't as bad as it seemed. We had to see a lot of depth out of the team with Brostrand and Fay demonstrating their leadership with 3 and 2 goals apiece respectively. We also got to see juniors Erin McCabe and Kelly Furman find the back of the net along with freshman up-and-comer Tony Mazzetti. We also saw the Explorers control the turnover battle. However, the draws that LaSalle has been seeing as an issue all season really came through against Drexel. They look to break the slump on Saturday, March 15th at home against Liberty at 11 a.m. Hopefully the spring weather starts breaking through for the sake of the people who have to film these games. And this is Jacob Smolinski coming from the sidelines for SportsLine.
The women's crew team rowed their boats for the first time in the spring season on Saturday, March 8th. The Lady Explorers competed in a tri-meet against 2 local rivals in the Delaware Blue Hens and the St. Joseph Hawks. In a 3-boat race, the Varsity 8 were able to pull out a big second-place finish with a time of 7 minutes and 17.6 seconds. The Varsity 4-boat wrapped up the day for the Lady Explorers with a 3rd-place finish of 9 minutes and 6.8 seconds.
Now, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Rohan Brown will be interviewing one of LaSalle's track stars. So, stay tuned.
Hungry for LaSalle TV? Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Check out our Twitter. And continue watching LaSalle TV.
Hello, my name is Rohan Brown, and welcome to another interview segment. I'm here with Chris Sanders, runs track, amazing athlete. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Rohan?
Doing fine. Thank you very much. How's the season going?
Season's going well. I'm a freshman, and I got third in the A10,
Right.
and I got fifth in the region, so that's a pretty big deal for me.
So how important is that to you?
It's very important because I love my sport. I go out there, I train hard, I try my best, and it pays off. And my coach helps me a lot.
Right. So when you are in these meets, you're not running against people in your own class. You're also running against upperclassmen, sophomores, and
Yes, that's correct.
how do you feel competing up against these other classes?
I don't feel any way. I'm not going to back down and go
Right.
right at him. So that's how I feel about it.
Now that you have accomplished so much your freshman year, what do you have planned for the next years to come?
I want to do big things.
Right.
Well, I have a dream to go to the Olympics, but I'm going to work towards that.
But you could do it if you put your mind to it,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. But right now, I want to train to make it to NCAAs,
Right.
do big things.
When are the NCAAs? You know,
I'm not really sure.
as long as you get there, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
What qualifications do you need to be accepted into the NCAAs?
I have to win my heat.
When
and
you're
my heat, that's you get put into different sections where you race against different people in different heats.
Right.
And if you win your heat, you move on to the next round.
Right.
So basically, that would put me in NCAAs, and I would probably have to run under 150, 149 to win my heat, and that's pretty fast. The Olympic record time is 140.
140.
Yeah.
All right. So you're pretty close. You can get there. I believe in you.
My
You got
best.
it.
My best is 151.
Really?
Yeah, that's my fastest race this year, and I did that once I came to LaSalle with training from Coach Ireland.
Seems like you really love your coach.
Yep.
So what accomplishments did you achieve in high school?
Well, I just started running my junior year, so it's pretty big for me, just to come out and be a D1 athlete,
Really?
just like that. Yeah.
You started running your junior year of high school,
Yes.
and you're this good, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do before running track?
I played basketball.
You play basketball? All right. What position?
Small forward.
Small forward.
Yeah.
Put in work.
I was all right.
All right.
I was in Rohan Brown.
So what made you transition from basketball to running track?
I was the fastest one on the court, so my coach was like, maybe you should try out for track because my ball handling skills weren't all that.
All right, so you just tried out for the track team and automatic all-star?
I feel like I worked for it, but it was a lot of natural talent. It was raw talent. But yeah, my senior year, I went to states for cross country, and I didn't place, but then I came back for indoor track and got second in the state of Pennsylvania.
All right.
Yeah, and then Coach Ireland saw me and brought me to LaSalle and took a big step. Here I am.
All right. Did you have any other offers besides LaSalle?
I was looking at a few different schools, but none like LaSalle, so I just
Okay.
decided I was going to come here.
LaSalle's a pretty good school.
Yeah, it is.
All right. You agree with me?
Agreed.
Anything that stands out about LaSalle community?
Well, it's like a family. My
Right.
track team is like a family. We all love each other. We all bond, hang out, stuff like that. It's fun. It's a nice environment.
That's cool. So, you have any embarrassing moments while you're on running the track? Any trips, flips?
Trips, flips.
kick somebody while you?
Not really.
No, never. All right. Kudos to you. Who would you say is your biggest fan out of all your family members?
My biggest fan, I would say my mother.
Mom?
Yeah,
Supports you?
supports me 100%. Yep. I have like idols on the team right now because I'm a freshman.
All right.
But like Zach Sullivan, Alfredo Santana, everyone knows Alfredo.
All right.
Everyone knows Zach too. Nick Ross and Kevin Day. Yep, they like inspired me to like do my best and
For
try
sure.
hard in practice. Cause they run like fast times and I want to be like just like them.
How do you compete with them? Where do you stand?
It's not really a competition, but maybe someday it will be.
All right. So let's get more personal. Growing up, did you play any sports? Were you an athletic person?
I was never on a sports team.
You were never on the sports team at all
Never.
until high school.
Until high school.
Why? What did you do?
Went to school and went home, basically. My freshman and sophomore year, I went to school in Philadelphia, and you know how that is.
Right.
Then I moved with my dad and he told me I had to either do a sport or get a job. So I decided to go get a sport.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's a better option.
Yeah.
So, while you're going to school and going home in elementary school, I'm pretty sure you watch some movies, you know, in your spare time. What would you say is your favorite Disney movie?
My favorite Disney movie? Extremely Goofy movie,
Extremely good. All right.
because I'm a goofy guy.
You're a goofy guy. Yeah, I've noticed. So, you're a communication major.
Yes.
What do you plan to do with that degree once you graduate?
I really want to be a news anchor. And this year I met like Rick Williams and stuff. My dad like knows a lot of people in like Philadelphia. And it was just like, I was like starstruck to meet him. But yeah, like someday I want to be a news anchor. That'd be nice.
Would you want to stay in the Philadelphia area or move out?
It really doesn't matter to me.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
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 Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Why not?
Canada.
Oh, can't. Okay. I don't know about Canada, but seems like you have a good head on your shoulders.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back after this commercial break.
See you.
The environment is my passion. Every day, I live for the outdoors and all of its challenges. That's why I enlisted in the Coast Guard. Now, I serve to protect the environment and defend my country. It's like I was born for this.
Were you born ready for a greater challenge? Find out at gocoastguard.com.
Welcome back. Now on to Exploring Headlines. Senior runner Megan McGlinchey continues her final leg of the season with more success. It was announced last Tuesday that Stars qualified for the 5K run in the NCAA Indoor Championships in Albuquerque, New Mexico. McGlinchey is ranked 5th nationally and is one of only 3 A10 female athletes to qualify. And she is also the first woman from LaSalle to receive an invitation. Best of luck to you, Megan.
Another LaSalle senior was also recognized this past week. Sophomore center fielder Megan Hodgson was named A10 Co-Player of the Week after a great week in the Rebels Spring Games, in which she batted an even 500 and picking up 7 runs scored.
However, a few LaSalle basketball players have their own honors to brag about. For the women's team, freshman Jasmine Alston was named A10 Rookie of the Week and Big 5 Player of the Week to end her regular season. While the team won its last 2 games, Alston averaged 13.5 points per game and 8 rebounds, which especially came in handy in LaSalle's comeback against Duquesne. Meanwhile, the Atlantic 10 named its all-conference teams with pivotal player Alicia Cropper earning second-team honors. Cropper was the team's leading scorer, averaging 14.4 points per game. Alongside her, Micaiah Owens was named to the all-rookie team for her performance this season. She averaged 13.4 points per game and shot an impressive 79% of her free throws.
On the men's team, senior Tyreek Dern and junior Steve Zach also found praise from the A10. Duran, the team's leading scorer, repeats for his second consecutive year to nab the second team all-conference spot in his career here at LaSalle. The senior has moved up to 14th in points in school history while being third in steals and fourth in assists. His teammate Zach was named to the all-defense team, making him the first Explorer to do so since LaSalle joined the A-10 in 1994. The not-so-gentle Giant leads the league in rebounds, double-doubles, and defensive rebounding, and is fourth in school history in rebounds with 109. They both certainly deserve the achievements after the team's roller coaster of a season.
Now on to academics. When the Atlantic 10 released its commissioner honor roll for last fall, it was learned that LaSalle had a whopping 135 students on the list. You didn't mishear me, 135 students. Wow. To make it onto the honor roll, students had to have a GPA of 3.5 or better. LaSalle's second in honorees, topped only by Massachusetts.
And finally, we report some outstanding news concerning our women's soccer team. Former Explorers Renee Washington and Courtney Nemec have been invited to training camp by teams in the National Women's Soccer League. Washington will return home to New Jersey to train with the Sky Blue FC, whereas Nemec will switch coasts and try out with the Portland Thorns SC, who won the league championship last season. Students should remember these names well, as both were instrumental in LaSalle with its A-10 championship victory. Washington sits tied at the top scoring for school's history with 40 career points, while Nemec was named A-10 Defense Player of the Year back in 2012 and continued to anchor a stiff defensive unit the following season.
Now it's time for this week's marquee matchup. Eddie Dunn is here to tell you what to look for this week in softball. Take a look.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Marquee Matchup. I'm Eddie Dunn. On Saturday, March 15th and Sunday, March 16th, the softball team will face a four-pack of opponents. Emanating from Baltimore, Maryland, the Coppin State Tournament, hosted by, you guessed it, Coppin State University, will feature LaSalle and their four respective opponents, Youngstown State, Coppin State, UMass Lowell, and Mount St. Mary's. While none of the Explorers' opponents will enter the tournament with winning records, the Blue and Gold don't have much to brag about either, as LaSalle will head south with a 3-7 record. Obviously, the goal is to win every game, and getting to 500 will be huge for the team. Falling to an even worse record this early in the season could hurt morale and really affect their chances of bouncing back from last season and securing an A-10 championship. This tournament will mark the first time that the team has faced any of these schools this campaign, with the exception of UMass Lowell, whom the Blue and Gold routed in their last contest 10-4. On March 7th at the Rebel Spring Games. With that in mind, let's check out our key players in this weekend's tournament. It should be no surprise that Megan Hodgson will be the needed big time this weekend. The senior slugging center fielder has been the all-star for the softball squad this spring and should continue to deliver for the Explorers. Coming off a superb stint at the Rebel Spring Games, Hodgson was given GoExplorers.com Player of the Week honors. During the 7-game set against 4 different teams, Hodgson went 11 for 22 with 3 doubles and 4 home runs. In addition, the captain of the outfield knocked in 11 while scoring 7 runs of her own. Through only 2 weeks of the season, Hodgson has already blasted 5 out of the ballpark, half of the 10 she hit in all of last season, which set a school record. Aside from Hodgson, keep your eyes peeled for the girl hitting in front of her, the breakout star of the Explorers, freshman Christina Bascara. The third baseman and fellow Newmanite has fit in nicely with her new club and established herself as a prominent starter. Over spring break, Bascara went 4 for 11 with a triple and an RBI, putting her average at a solid .429 on the season. Although she has few runs batted in this season, expect her to continue finding gaps at the plate and moving runners over for Hodgson to drive in surplus to her outstanding defense at the hot corner. Now it's time for our keys to the tournament. Some of the team's losses this season have been the result of on and off defensive play. If the Blue and Gold want to win in this weekend's tournament, they're going to have to be willing to get dirty and make the tough plays to get outs. Every play matters on a weekend where you're fighting to get to 500, for errors could potentially cost any team an entire season. On the offensive side of things, LaSalle has to drive runners in when they get on base. This season, the Explorers have been outscored 41-14 in games that they have lost, and outscored their opponents 27-6 in games that they have won. That leaves them at -6 on the season in terms of run production. If these girls want to make a run this spring, they need to turn that into a positive number. RBIs are far from an underrated statistic. And finally, the girls simply need to keep up the momentum. Winners of their last 2 outings, the team has a rather easy schedule this weekend, and going into the tournament on a winning streak should help them extend that streak even further into their doubleheader against Temple on March 19th. That does it for this week's edition of Marquee Matchup. I'm Eddie Dunn.
Training is about more than muscle. It's about inner strength. So I push myself. That's why I serve in the United States Coast Guard. I train with the best. A team that shares my drive and commitment. We collect intelligence, guard our shores against drug smugglers, and keep our waterways safe, because our nation expects more.
If you expect more, maybe you were born ready. Find out at GoCoastGuard.com.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong. Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The Action Team.
Action Team!
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
Thanks, Eddie. Be sure to keep up with this weekend's sporting events by following us on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We post game updates and sneak peeks into the upcoming show.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions about the show on either website.
For Madison and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Brendan Rigney, and we'll see you at the game.